Hello everyone, and welcome back to Technically Unsure, where I'm not really sure what I'm doing technically.
How many buckets do you have?
It's not sure.
Thank you.
Yet here we are. Today we are going to explore a brand new single board computer SBC that came out recently. I saw an article about it on CNX Software about on February 15, and I placed the order same day, and today I received it. Here it is. So this is exactly how it arrived. It did have the UE2 packaging wrap around it. I tear that apart and this is it. This board is actually on the website, on their website, and on their specs page. They are saying that this board is designed by Wildfire technology apparently. But even as I said, even the packaging, the wrap, and even in here it says UE2. It's not the infamous haircut mentioned in the GTA 5.
Maybe you got rid of that old yee ass haircut you got.
So real quick. Okay, it comes with this. Nothing else in here, but I just want to mention that this is the 16 gigabyte RAM and 128 gigabyte eMMC internal storage version. We're going to talk all about that. Here we are. This board, it's very neat. Very neat. It looks great. And it came with the standoffs. And there is also, okay, we're going to talk all about it. First of all, let me quickly grab a Raspberry Pi. It's exactly the same size as Raspberry Pi 5 on both X and Y. Yeah, it's exactly the same. They are the same size. LubanCat-4, Raspberry Pi 5. They are exact same size, even the GPIO pins. So you might be able to even get some of the hats that's made for this to work on this. We talked about the dimensions, and this board also is rocking a Rockchip RK3588S, which is, yeah, this is it. This is the Rockchip RK, yeah, it says right there, 3588S. Okay, so let me show you a close-up of this board, front, back, and now we are going to go, and this is this side and this side. Okay, let's go over the specs. So let me grab my mighty pen. It's not a pen. This board, as I said, RK3588S. And if you're a subscriber, you should already know that I have reviewed some other boards with the same chip, same SoC. And as you also know, RK3588S boasts four ARM Cortex A76, which is humming at around 2.4 gigahertz, and it's for computationally intensive tasks, alongside 4-core ARM Cortex A55, which clocks up to 1.8 gigahertz. That's for efficient handling of mainly the background processes and so on. Furthermore, RK3588S integrates a Mali G610 GPU, which might not be the absolute pinnacle of graphical prowess, but you know, it's just more than capable of handling essential visuals and even light gaming without breaking a sweat, honestly. And we did that in the other boards, and we did some gaming as well. As for the memory and internal storage, I paid the premium. I got the most expensive option available, which is the 16 gigabyte RAM and 128 gigabyte eMMC. But there is 4 gigabyte RAM and no storage, no eMMC version as well as the cheapest option. So if you go with that, I believe that would be same price as the Raspberry Pi 5. I will try to put both pages up here and maybe even in the description so you can see the prices. You already know the Raspberry Pi. I believe now it's on sale on multiple sites, Mouser and this is, I bought it from their website. Sorry, I bought it from AliExpress, but there is on their own UE2 website as well. You can buy it from there. The LubanCat also boasts, gigabit Ethernet, and they are claiming it can achieve the full gigabit bidirectional But, you know, as the Todd from Project Farm says, you know, we're going to test that. So
We're going to test that.
we will see if that holds up. And as for the USB ports, there is, I believe, it does have, these are USB 2 ports. These two are USB 2 ports, mainly for like mouse and keyboard. And then there is a USB, on top is USB 3. And then again, USB 2 again. This is USB 2 and the bottom is USB 3. And there is also, on the other side, 2 USB-C ports. One is for power, one is OTG. And then there is also an HDMI, mini HDMI, by the way. As you can see here, it's a mini HDMI port. And HDMI version is 2.1. And then there's also 40 GPIO pins, which I believe pinouts are going to be exactly like Raspberry Pi 5, but we're going to test that. And on the back, there is, as I said, mini PCIe slot. And there are 2, you know, MIPI DSI and then the CSI slots. And in here, there are 2. And here, and there's also SIM card and TF, flash card, SD card slot in here. On this side, there is anything else. There's also another CSI port in here. There's infrared interface, debug interface. This is fan header. This one is fan. This one is RTC. Fan, RTC, CSI, infrared, 2 USB speaker, 3.5, and DSI in here. You can plug microphone as well. This one is USB 3 OTG. This is HDMI mini, and this one is the USB-C power. So this one is the memory, and this one is, I believe, is the eMMC, the storage. So I believe these are 8 and 8 because I got the 16 gig version, and this is the 128 gigabyte eMMC storage. Pretty much talked about everything on this side, and on the back, we talked about the PCIe, SIM card, DSI, and 2 CSI. So in summary, on paper at least, on paper, we're gonna test everything. We're gonna check it out. But on paper, if you wanna summarize and compare LubanCat-4 to Raspberry Pi 5, Raspberry Pi 5 does have 2.4 gigahertz quad-core ARM Cortex-A76 CPU. This does have that, plus quad A55 efficient cores, right? And then LubanCat-4 memory goes up to 16, which is exactly this model. It does have 16 gigabytes of RAM, but this caps at 8 gigabytes. LubanCat-4 does have an extra USB-C for OTG, which, very important, it supports the DP, DisplayPort protocol, which enables you to connect the display and gives you an extra option in here. So that's very important that Raspberry Pi does not have that. LubanCat HDMI 2.1 and Raspberry Pi is HDMI 2.0. LubanCat 4 does have 2 MIPI DSI and 3 MIPI CSI for cameras and displays and touchpads and all that, while Raspberry Pi got 2 CSI DSI ports just in total. There's also SIM slot in this board, which you can also install a 4G memory in here and use it with the 4G board, the 4G connection board. And with the SIM card, you will be able to establish 4G connection, 5G connection, and have a internet on the go. But this one does not have that SIM card slot. I'm not sure about the Pi hats for that. I'm sure there is something, or maybe someone is working on that, but I haven't seen it myself, like a 4G, 5G Pi hat. I haven't seen. So there is also Raspberry Pi does not have like the RTC header or IR header and so on, but this one does have. I know, not a big deal. Definitely there are like hats for it, but yeah, this one has it built in. Raspberry Pi 5 does not have any internal storage, as far as I know. At least it's not here. And I don't think there's an option that you can buy. But this one, you can buy without any eMMC, no storage, but at least there is an option. If you want to pay the premium, you can buy different storages, eMMC storage for your board. So this one has 128. And yeah, so for all that extra, right? And remember, for PCIe, there is no PCIe on this Raspberry Pi, but there is a PCIe on this one. So you have to buy this hat for it, which is like 25 bucks, right? Consider the Raspberry Pi board, PCIe Pi hat. You are paying like 105 or so for this. And with this one, with 178 bucks, which you will get 128 gigabyte storage, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and all that extra stuff that I just mentioned. So it's up to you if you think it's worth it. At least on the paper, again, we're gonna test everything. We're gonna see if it matches. So let me wire it all up and I will be right back. Let me show you a couple of things around here. First of all, this is the fast fetch, and as you can see, I'm running the Ubuntu 22. And it is the Medfire LubanCat-4 and 510 kernel. And then also we are running right now, because of the capture card restrictions, on the 1080p 120 hertz. And I tried it with 4K. Does a perfect job. And I even have a wide monitor, no problem whatsoever. And then as you can see, we are running the Cortex A55, Cortex A76, total 8 cores at 2.35, but the one is 1.8, but it doesn't matter. And Mali G610 also is the GPU, and the memory is, as you can see, 16 gigabytes. So we got this general information, and here, as you can see, the CPU and the temperatures are here. So while we are running the benchmarks, you will be able to see the temperature, how much it's rising, and so on. And as you can see, I have installed a regular Pi hat, and it is cooling the CPU and the memory underneath. So let's start with Sysbench, maybe. Sysbench. Let's do it for. Okay, very close to Raspberry Pi, 10,600, but I think it's a little bit more than that. And if we do 7-zip, okay, 7-zip is also finished. And as you can see, the average is 745 usage, and here's the compression ratings. And it is, I think, yeah, it's definitely faster. Also has a bigger RAM and CPU, so it is definitely faster than Raspberry Pi. And as for StressNG, all right, so StressNG is over as well. And I hope you were paying attention to temperatures here. And yeah, so this is the results of the StressNG, and yeah, that is very, very impressive. And one more thing that I want to show you, if we go to the downloads, the good thing is, I just want to show you this. Look at this, ATC APT sources of list. By default, I didn't add this. It contains a repo where there are like ARM64 for multimedia stuff, which is where you basically download the FFmpeg. It's not here, so I guess it is in the .d folder here. Yeah, yep, the rock chip. So JJRIEK Ubuntu rock chip. This one is actually does contain like FFmpeg and the others too. It does have very good multimedia related applications that are built for the rock chip. So once we do FFmpeg, you will see that it doesn't show that unable to decode or rock chip driver missing or something like that. So if we do ffplay, on this 4K 60 FPS video. As you can see, and let me show you, no frames drop. So in the beginning maybe, but okay, sometimes I'm switching the tab, but if you look at it, it's very smoothly. It's not really dropping any frames whatsoever. But yeah, it is playing the video very smoothly, barely dropping any frames. It drops frames when I'm switching the window, but yeah, when you are on it, it really does not drop any frames. 0 frames drop. And obviously that is very much expected from a ROG chip. This one, RK3588. So you can see the temperatures are in very, very acceptable ranges. So I just want to show you that as well. Another thing that I want to show you, I'm booting from the SD card and I'm going to write it to the internal eMMC and remove the SD card and boot from the eMMC itself, which is 128 gigabytes in this case. So as you can see, this is the file that I downloaded, and this is exactly the same image that I installed on the SD card as well. So what I'm going to do is I just right click on or double click on it, or right click and click on the image thing, what is it called? Yeah, disk image writer. So if you do an fdisk-l in here, you will see that this is the 128 gigabyte internal storage, which is empty currently. But the second one is my SD card, the 64 gig. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it to this one. And so we choose the first one, MMCBLK0. Okay, so as it is writing to the internal eMMC, let's do a quick iPerf test. Remember, they were claiming that this is a full gigabit Ethernet. So let's test that. iPerf 350 bidirectional. Okay. Oh wow, yeah. Okay, fair enough. That's exactly what they were saying, 940 something, 1 gigabit per second bidirectional. That's exactly what we're seeing here. Very impressive. Exactly the same number. I think it was on their webpage, 941. Anyway, so I can confirm that yes, the gigabit Ethernet is really gigabit, unlike the other ones that we tested on this channel, it wasn't. So, okay, as you can see, it wrote the Ubuntu to the internal MMC. I'm going to reboot it now without that. But before going, I forgot about the GL mark. So GL mark 2S2. This is also, as you can see, it detects the Mali GPU. So this is a version, I compiled it from the GitHub repo with the support for ROG chip. So pay attention to the frame rates on a windowed mode, 800 by 600, and to the temperatures. As you can see, it's not even rising at all. Okay, we are done, and I believe this is the fastest ROG chip I have ever tested so far from RK3588 series that I've tested. This score and overall the CPU scores, everything looks, this is much higher than other ones that I have tested. Now let's shut down and boot from the internal SD and internal eMMC and see how it does. Okay, that was super smooth, honestly. I just double-clicked on an XZ file and wrote it to MMC0, and we are in. So that was super, super smooth. So now I'm just going to install it. I will speed up through this footage. We are back, and as you see that we are booted from the internal storage. So I want to show you the boot time. So let's reboot and let's see how quickly it boots. Very good. I believe that was around 10-15 seconds or so. Yeah, it's booting very fast, and I am going to now try a couple of things such as the GPIO, and also I want to see if the PCIe port works. So I will be right back. Okay, so unfortunately about the GPIO, I have some good news and the bad news. The good news is I figured it out. The bad news is it's not documented anywhere. So as you can see on the other camera, I have inserted the ground to the ground pin, which is the third from the right side, which is like the Raspberry Pi. Always the third from right is the ground. And for the other side, for the red one, I put it on the 8th one from the left side. So basically pin number 8. So if you Google, you know, LubanCat and GPIO pinout or anything like that, it just brings you to a different version of LubanCat. It's none of these are none of these match, right? So basically it's not matching, that at least the numbers are not matching the physical. Like for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I inserted it in here, and this one says that the physical pin is 55, but it is not. So I tried the 55 and for that port, and I tried the 22, obviously wrong, but I just tried it. It's not the correct one. So what I did was, if you open up a terminal, let's drop to the root just in case. Okay, so what I did was, if you do a GPIO detect in here, you are going to see a bunch. So what I thought was, similar boards, it was always between the ranges of like 40 and 50 and 60, around that range. So you shouldn't do it. I just did it. But I said, okay, let's ignore the first 32 and let's start with the second 32 GPIO pin, this one. And I said, you know, the first one is 32. Add 8 to it, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's exactly where the red is installed. And as you can see, it is showing the default value. So if I do echo and say 40 to sys class GPIO export, and then if I say set the direction of that, right, to GPIO 40, and the direction, you see that it drops immediately. So I found the pin, which is in the GPIO in sysfs, it is number 40, but it is not documented. So I don't like that. Although I figured it out, it's not right. They should have a proper web page just like this. This very same page should have been updated and included LubanCat-4, and you know, they should put the proper pinout. So let's make sure that we got it right. If we do class GPIO 40 value, yeah, we did it right. So as you can see now, the value is at 3.5, and if I go down to 0, it drops to 0. So I figured it out, but that's not the correct way to do it. Hopefully, I hope this LubanCat Embed Fire, I keep seeing different names, so now it's Embed Fire. And yeah, I hope that whoever is behind this figured it out and fix the website and include the LubanCat-4. Anyway, the GPIO works if you count this as working. We did the benchmarks. So let me see if I can get the SSD to work on this. I will be right back. So before I try the SSD, I just want to quickly show you Wi-Fi actually. As you know, this board does not come with a Wi-Fi, only the Ethernet is your way to connect to the internet. So I got my hands on this one. I have a bunch of these, so I saw that this is fitting, and yeah, I didn't install it properly. This is just for a test. So I put this one, which is, as you can see on the camera, hopefully, this is a AX200HMW. So that's some PCIe based wireless and Bluetooth card. So I will wire it up and we will see if it works. we are back. Let's boot into the operating system. I didn't install any driver. I literally just installed the adapter, the wireless card. So if we open up the terminal, yep, there it is. So wireless works perfectly, and yes, it definitely works. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try an SSD and storage, and I will be right back. Okay, so unfortunately, it seems like the good news about this board is finished. So we covered the good stuff. So I will just show you one more thing very quickly. So let me refresh this page. I just want you to see that on the 4K resolution, and when you enable the stats for nerves, as you can see, it does not drop any frames. So yes, in the Chrome that's installed on the official Ubuntu image, the rock chip is working perfectly, and it plays 4K videos with no trouble at all. So that being said, I also quickly want to tell you that I followed this guide, and I was able to just barely get the Wine working through box 86. Again, install the Steam, but unfortunately it doesn't launch, just like the other ARM SBCs that we tried. I'm sure if someone spends a lot more time on this than I did, we'll figure it out. But ARM 64, rock chips and all that, they are all catching up, and soon we will have working Steam in this platform. That being said, remember the CSI and the DSI and all that MIPI, whatever we talked about, all the ports in the beginning. So I tried a generic LCD, didn't work. I tried the Latte Panda 7-inch display, didn't work. And I tried the Raspberry Pi, it doesn't fit the connector. So none of these worked with the deep display port or the CSI. And for the camera, you might say, okay, you maybe didn't try camera. Yeah, I have a bunch. Swimming in it. I guess I tried many of these, and yeah, none of them worked. So I couldn't get any of these cameras or the screens to work on this board, which is unfortunate. But that being said, to summarize and wrap up this video before it gets longer, so the official image of Ubuntu is perfect. You can install it on the internal eMMC, perfect. It comes with the installer to configure it right after the flashing. You can configure your users and Wi-Fi and account and password and all that, and it boots. And once it boots, everything works. Wi-Fi requires an additional card, unlike other boards like let's say Raspberry Pi. And then the Ethernet is 1 gigabit. It's perfect. The GPIO, absolutely no documentation. Same with the displays, right? Maybe one of these will work, but there is no documentation. So I couldn't get it to work, and I didn't want to spend my night figuring this out. This is the responsibility of the board and the developers and the designers of it. There is no documentation for GPIO, no documentation for the display or the CSI and the cameras and all that. No examples, no samples for anything, no samples for GPIO, no samples for these modules, add-ons. So barely I got the Ubuntu, and by the way, I got the Ubuntu from GitHub. So yeah, so this is what I was talking about, Rock Chip Ubuntu repository. So I downloaded that here from this page, and I just searched for the board. Yeah, so here is the LubanCat-4. So this is the image that I downloaded. I'm kind of sure this is not the official, this person, Joshua Reek, is maintaining it. Anyway, yeah, this is not even official, so I just used this. And I just want to say, the documentation wise, they lag. They are behind, very behind. Their own website does not have GPIO or anything about it. It is kind of same with you know, UE2 boards. I also remember that I have this as well from them, which if you guys are interested, let me know. We can talk about this and I can do it, but it's a little bit old. It's not new. So these are the computers where you know, UE2 made these, and yeah, these are modular, so you can install different modules. So this one is 8 gig, and you know, this is 8 gig and 64 gig, so 8 gig memory, 64 gig storage. You can install these like this and screw them down just like this one. And this module is 4 gigabyte RAM and 32 gigabyte storage. So yeah, the UE2 makes these, and the very same company, it seems like, or they are involved. I see other company names involved in this one, but yeah, I couldn't get the modules work. There's no documentation. The lack of documentation sucks. But at least the Wi-Fi on the PCI worked. I just installed it, the driver and anything that didn't need to install. It just worked out of box. That being said, so it is very, very fast. You can absolutely use this for your daily use, you know, browsing, coding, development, and all that. Ethernet is 1 gig. You know, the temperature does not rise. It plays 4K video with no problem. Connects to 4K displays. You know, the compiling stuff. I compiled multiple things for benchmarking, GLMark, or the Box 86 and all that. It was relatively fast. So you can use this as daily driver. You can play videos on it, but not much gaming yet. But other than that, GPIO also works, but you have to consider tinkering a lot and figuring the pins and GPIO pins on your own. If you want to do that, absolutely go for it. It works. And yeah, other than that, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. In an upcoming video, I would like to do some comparison and speed tests, testing the speeds and benchmarking, comparing the results between such boards like RK3588 based computers versus Raspberry Pi and other similar similar boards in the similar price range. So if a board is $250, obviously we're not going to include that. So I'm trying to put together a list of a couple good candidates for this, and then I will be doing a demo of benchmarking and comparing the results between all these boards, and you know, we'll see which one is the best one. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.